shit, you know what that means. We're back for another episode of Square Grouper. I'm Fox. I'm here with my co-host Dave. Before we get started, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who listened to our first episode, our trailer. I'm honestly very taken back by the amount of responses we got from listeners, let alone what you guys liked about it, what you guys wanted to see. We are so excited to continue with this podcast and see what we can do for you guys. But again, it was absolutely surreal. I just want to say thank you first and foremost to everyone who listened in to the first one. We're looking forward to making this one a super fun episode. With that being said, I'm going to go pass this on over to my co-host as we get into some fun shit for today.
Yeah, thank everyone for listening to the pilot episode or trailer episode. Thanks for reaching out for the story repost. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was really cool to see everyone support and really help right from the gate. So appreciate it. That was just like a glimpse of what's to come. So we'll just go ahead and jump into some news right away. So if you've been following me for a while on Florida Trees News, sometimes cannabis news in Florida, there's a lot of news that pumps out. So sometimes it'll be super busy. Then we'll go weeks or months with no change or no news. So this episode, we have quite a few news articles to talk about. It may not always be that way, but we'll go ahead and start out with probably the biggest headline, I think. Lots of opinions about it. So Florida marijuana legalization campaign reaches signature goal, says their major funder, which is Trulieve. This is out of Business Insider. Florida's cannabis industry-backed campaign to legalize marijuana has garnered enough raw signatures to qualify the initiative for the 2024 ballot. According to one of the campaign's financiers, which is Trulieve again, Smart and Safe Florida campaign.
Is it anyone else? Is it just their bill?
That's just them. Someone else donated $128 or something stupid. It's really weird. It's funny.
They probably worked for them, so that was probably a check that they cut them that this idiot paid $128 for. Or whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry.
He definitely wants his money back. And then we go back into it again in this article. Tallahassee-based Trulieve, which has contributed at least $30 million. I think it's more like $38 million now to get this last push. I think in a newer article. The official confirmation from the Florida Division of Elections is still pending. They have to get 891,523 valid signatures to be introduced on the ballot. So they're saying they have enough raw signatures right now. They have to pay to get them verified. And with all the money pumping in this, they're going to hit the goal, which I know a lot of people were like, I can't wait to see them waste their money and this and that. We'll see, because it still has to pass Supreme Court review. It still has to be signed by Ron DeSantis. DeSantis, has gone on record before saying no legal cannabis while he's governor. Have they? It's Florida. Like I've said before, what's going on behind closed doors, we can only imagine. So have they paid for the court? Possibly. Have they paid for DeSantis? Possibly. Especially with people saying lobbyists, that Trulieve uses the capital city or whatever it is, are very close to DeSantis. So in my opinion, and I'm getting a lot of people upset, no homegrown in this. So a lot
bullshit.
I get a big thing. They're why do we care? We don't give a fuck. We're going to grow anyway. And completely agree. A lot of people are still going to do whatever they're going to do. But the reason a lot of people don't want to support it is not everyone is like us. Not everyone's willing to risk, charges to grow weed or try to grow weed. If enough people did it, what could they do after it's legalized? Will cops not care? I fucking doubt it. It's Florida. They'll still care.
And the in-between about that is, in between them not giving a fuck and people saying we're going to do it anyways, you've got people, and I'll give you examples, right? In other states, if you get caught growing and you own that house, they'll take your fucking house, right? What are you going to do?
Horrible shit can happen, right?
If you have children, if you have children, dog, they're going to take your fucking kids. And then you got to fight for that. We had to deal with this in Colorado with kids who had cards and them trying to take them from their mothers and fathers. Even though we went through the state and we were doing all this stuff, we used to have to go to the schools to give them their meds. And we used to still be met with the sheriffs. We would get cuffed. We would get threatened. Dude, all this insane shit. And you're right. People aren't like us. People don't realize that it would affect some people's lives more than others. But then there's other people out there that, yeah, they need this plant just as much as anybody else. And some people can't afford to be a constant customer to these dispensaries. It's always cheaper. It's always been cheaper to grow your own food. Why would it be any different for a home grow? And that's where I stand on it. Obviously there's many points which, like you said, not everyone is like us, but it's like, as you get older and you're starting to realize how political this shit gets, you really have to see both sides of the field to understand why things play out the way they do.
100%. And that's the thing too, is like, with laws like this, guys, we want to fight for grandma that, wants to try growing weed or, things like that. I mean, there's so much cannabis culture and understanding and knowledge. And we could even say spiritual things that happen when you grow cannabis, and actually cultivate it and love the plant, right? Or learn to love it or learn to take care of it. Some people can't grow weed for shit. Yeah, nope. They'll try and never grow it again. Cool.
And there's those same people that can't grow weed for shit, and they keep doing it anyways.
And keep trying, guys. But what I would like to say is, like, we want normal people to be able to have like the full cannabis experience, right? And that's not going to happen with this. I also think that if we don't have, home grow for medical marijuana, there's no way it's going to happen for adults 21 or older. Of course, guys, I have a lot of you like confused on why I'm not like super attacking this right now. It's $30 million, guys. I mean, come on. It's been pushed through. It's going to get pushed through. Am I going to tell people to vote no on it? I mean, yeah, obviously that's my opinion if it makes it to the ballot. But at the same time, are 60% of Floridians going to vote yes? Maybe. And at the end of the day, even though it is True Leaf and it is fucked, like 3 ounces, 5 grams of concentrate. I mean, guys, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. You know what I mean? So the fact that even if there is a legal container law, if some of us can go out, grab a legal container, have 3 ounces on us without a card, because there's so many of us that do not want to get a card. And then on top of that, I also want to talk about people that are scared to get their concealed carry license with a card. If this happens, you're not going to have to worry about that anymore, even though I don't think you should be on a list of gun owners or cannabis, users. That's me personally. But, and is that, a concealed carry permit proving you're a gun owner? That's another debate. But
yeah, it's a whole other episode, dog.
Exactly. There are pros and cons. I hate True Leaf. I hate what they've done. They've fucked Florida up from the gate. Kim Rivers' husband's on FBI recording talking about pretty much how they were able to rig the system, like the connections. It's a whole nother episode we could talk about. And a lot of you know and don't care. Some of you don't know and would care. We'll talk about it. But then again, guys, like I don't want to, like this podcast isn't about True Leaf. It's about Florida. They exist. It's part of the fucking timeline. It sucks. But we'll
you got to know the players for the game, so understand that. So you may not know or not care, but even after the fact, even if you don't care, best believe you're going to know.
And Ron DeSantis might fucking veto it, which would just be insane, right? So
we're going to laugh because, he's crazy. And so, like, you can't, like, this is the thing people don't understand. Like, it's some Florida shit, dude. So, like, it really could just make it all the way up for him to be like, meh.
No, and then they really could have spent all their money, which would be fucking hilarious. So,
which wouldn't be the first time, like Florida's all about that. The F is for fraud, and people forget that shit.
And DeSantis is, I don't want to talk about it, but immigration laws have been happening. All kinds of healthcare laws have been like DeSantis is very active right now, and he is okay with upsetting people. So we'll see, but we'll move on from that. Another big headline here. This is a huge headline. 74 applicants, try to get new pot. Shouldn't read that fucking ignorant ass headline. 77.
Wait, hold on, pause. What does the headline say?
74 applicants vie for pot licenses.
I hate this place.
So 74 prospective operators applied for 22 medical marijuana licenses during a 5-day application cycle that ended April 28th. The Florida Department of Health in February issued a ruling that they would accept applications between April 24th and 28th. This is the first round of licensing. This is 6 years after Florida voters approved a constitutional amendment authorizing medical marijuana. They say they received 74 licenses. They haven't released the names of the applicants or redacted versions of the applications yet. We have 22 licenses now with 800,000 patients. This is the first.
And a note on that, they should have added more centers when we got. It was like every increase of like what 200,000, 20,000. It was something insane.
Yeah.
It was something like maybe like 20,000 because if it was 200,000, it wouldn't call for an increase of so many new licenses. But I think it was something like 20 to 80,000 patients, right? And so there's over 800,000 patients, right? So it's
and this is another reason
overdue.
why a lot of us don't like some of these companies, because a whole nother episode again, but some of these big MSOs have shell companies that sue the state over licensing. They've been doing it for the past however many years to stop more competition from coming into the market. So lots of stuff at play here. Of course, these licenses are sought after, especially as, recreational marijuana could be on the ballot, or cannabis. Sorry, I said marijuana, whatever. I'm reading these fucking...
We hate that word. So understand if we say that word, it's because there's been an emphasis on a reference or article that we're reading that says that. But I do my best to understand. And that will be another episode on why we don't use the word marijuana. But for now, just understand. Yep.
Me and Fox are both, Hispanic. So like we have, some reasoning. There's some things with that and other things, but there's a big long history with the word marijuana. But going back to the licenses, we hate this fucking system, guys. We hate the Florida medical marijuana system. A lot of us just refuse to, even take place in it, or have a card, or operate in it, or fucking buy weed, or even deal with people that are in it. But, 22 licenses, I know quite a few groups of people that are trying to get these licenses. Good luck to every one of you and your groups of friends or business associates, whatever it is. It's going to be interesting, especially when these these names and applications are going to get, released. So hopefully we can look through them, see who tried to use ChatGPT on them and stuff like that. So it'll be fun to kind of study them if I'm bored as fuck, which I'll have to be to do that. Probably won't do it. But anyway. So next, decent, once again, part of the system that some of us hate, but it's still good for patients. Florida telehealth is going to be legal again to renew your certification. So it'll become effective in July 1st. I think with some pandemic laws, they had like an emergency ruling where people didn't have to go to their doctor to renew. So they're going to go ahead and make that legal July 1st. It looks like if they also talked about like you'll be suspended for up to, let's say here, 2 years from the OMMU if you get caught fucking around as a doctor. Also, if anyone markets, advertises, or offers telehealth renewals before July 1st, they could also be suspended. I mean, there's different levels of shadiness. Some people don't realize, like, yeah, there are some sketch ass doctors that have been doing telehealth anyway, offering it to everyone. So, like,
let me pause for a second. I have a question. So, I haven't renewed my card there, but when I had it, it was a weird timeline in the sense of your medical card. You have it for a year, 12 months. But you have to get a doctor's recommendation every 7. So there's an overlap month at some point where it's like, I don't understand that, but I also don't know if that's still a thing.
It is, and it's because of the 35-day or 210, I don't know, however they have a lot of the amounts that people can get, whether it's flour or milligrams for other, routes of consumption, I think is the verbiage they use. So I think it's based on, it's just fucking stupid ass shit. Like, once again, it's why some of us want nothing to do with it. It's just fucking stupid, guys. The Florida legislators destroyed Amendment 2, fucked it all up. We'll see what happens with Smart and Safe. The people in my comments today saying that you guys are dumb, like they're going to add home grow to it. It's easy. Like, it's been 6 years. It's been 6 years since medical marijuana passed in Florida. Legislation has not even considered it. We see some petitions going around, things like that. But,
like, there's some weird medical state that's crammed around a bunch of like states that have medical. That's not really the case for Florida. Depending on how far south you are, going to Jamaica is closer than going to the Florida-Georgia state line. So, but you can smoke weed in Jamaica and it's rec. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of it's not really a hard choice.
I
But
would much rather go to the Caribbean than fucking Georgia, but that's just me.
no. Here's the thing: Georgia's beautiful, and
And we're
like,
not saying that Georgia has legal cannabis,
no,
guys.
no, no,
That's
no,
not
no,
what we're
no, no,
talking
no,
about.
no, no. Yeah, I wish they did.
Well, they do now. They can offer, and Trulieve was the first dispensary to open there and offer tinctures.
Do they have home grow? You know, weirdly enough, I know
Definitely not.
we're going super side skirting, but at one point, I want to talk about every state that touches Florida, essentially, and then talk about what their medical, non-medical laws are.
I
Because
know Alabama was talking about doing something, but yeah, no. I mean, really, it
yeah,
looks like I don't think any. I don't think
yeah.
any of them. I mean, maybe they do. Georgia, like once again, this
I
giant
like Georgia.
MSOs.
I got hopes for Georgia.
I
So
don't.
you know,
I don't. I don't. Because Trulieve was the
whatever.
first dispensary to open there. Like they've already been corrupted. Like we watched the swamp monster crawl out of Florida into other states, and now they're in fucking
So I'm
Georgia.
trying
So.
to keep it out of sweet, sweet Georgia and make sure that it does right. So you can't hate me or fault me for that as someone who's traveled a lot and seen like the fuckery. And it does so the other part of that is like the producers, you know, these big MSOs that want to, like you said, essentially implement certain laws and bills to help not so much progress the program, but like keep competition out. You see this across other states a lot. And a lot of them will say that you know there's a it'll cause a saturation in the market and this and that, but they're really afraid of a true open market for medicine because people will always flock to the best. But if you're locked in, you can give people minimal effort. I'm going to refrain from saying it the way I'd like to out of respect for the patients, but like you will get not what you deserve in the best possible, shortest and sweetest way. And I think the patients of our home state deserve a lot more. We deserve a lot more. I'd love to
We're
see.
not mad for no reason, guys. It's not just we're trying to be cool on Instagram and hate on everyone. Like that's not what it is. Like sorry, I just sketched out and said that, but
No, I
it's
love
true
when you
though. Like
sketch
if people
out.
are like, "Oh, you guys are fucking IG haters" and things like that, like fuck you,
No,
dude.
no, I'm a
You know,
selective hater.
yeah, we
Just
do
don't
deserve.
make bad hash and don't make shitty bills or people impedes on their freedom or the freedom of their children. And then we're all right. Like, I don't care what you do
Like
outside from
Florida
that.
deserves more. Medical marijuana was passed under Rick Scott, one of the most corrupt fucking governors we've ever had. I mean, it was pay to play from the get go. You know, it's crony capitalism, regulatory capture, which we can cover another episode.
I put a lot of hash in this blunt, my guy.
Damn, I'm
I,
actually like sober today on Friday. It sucks. I'm like,
I,
anyway.
yeah, no, but you're absolutely right.
I
I,
ate
po-
2 trap spore caps and some edibles a little bit ago, but just to,
I like this dynamic because I'm doing this, so I'm not very passionate about certain things we'll get to, but it's just an interesting dynamic. And I hope if you're listening to this, please, I should say that at the beginning, but roll
yeah.
up,
And also, I'm in a home studio and it's like
smoke,
fucking pouring rain, and I have a
dab,
skylight. So like, if you hear the rain, I'm sorry.
eat an edible, or don't. If you're at work and you can't do any of that shit, just listen to us bullshit, and at least we'll make you laugh, or hopefully you'll learn something.
I've been smoking weed like it's legal for fucking years in South Florida, and even used to be harassed by Broward County sheriffs, Palm Beach County sheriffs that pull us over every time they saw us, throw the blunt out the window.
We used to get
I've
in cars
been
with
through it all.
strangers.
So pretty much like this 420, I was just walking around smoking weed everywhere at the beach and shit. Like it's cool to see, like, but that could have happened even without this fucked up medical system. Like just the public like perception and like acceptance of cannabis has changed. And in Florida, it's really nice, and it's crazy to think that some of the patients like they may not even have that paranoia. Like, dude, I'll be in fucking California smoking under a pier and like still looking around and sketching out, dude, just because that shit's ingrained in me. I've been smoking weed. I guess we can talk about it a little bit. Then we're going to cover our Florida person of the day. But I've been smoking weed, I don't know, since I was probably 14. I think when I was 17, I started smoking weed every day. And that shit's ingrained in me, bro. I didn't have the first time I was like legal with cannabis, I was in Arizona in 2011, and it just got my card. You know what I mean? In Arizona, that was the first time I was like legal. And
I know
and
some homies out there. They have some really fire extractors out there. Some.
Yeah, I have some ties
good
to
shit.
Arizona. I've lived out there in Tempe and areas around there, so I love Arizona. Would I live there? Absolutely not, dude. But that's another topic for another day. So our Florida person of the
It's just
week, or maybe
hot. Like I like it. It's just that's the only thing I have against it. It's just hot. They have huge
it's
roads.
not
If
even.
you love
It's
cars,
I
go.
don't even. I don't even care about the heat. It's just the people are crazy out there. Maybe the people I know are a little crazier
Now
than
here's the
most.
thing,
But
man. I've traveled the country. I will tell you this: people are crazy everywhere. They're just a different kind of crazy. So there's like Florida crazy. There's East Coast crazy, like, there's mountain crazy, which is super fucking crazy. Like, yo, that's a whole nother episode of like my
no,
time
it's
in
true.
Colorado. You've got West Coast crazy, which covers everything from like inner city crazy to in the mountains, people that look like me, bearded crazy, to like, down in the desert where it's fucking hot crazy. And it's just weird. This country is just all sorts of crazy, essentially.
I think
Um,
I don't drink. So like everyone I knew in Arizona, like they stay inside all day because obviously people I know don't fucking have normal jobs, and then they would just get trashed at night, and do fucking crazy shit.
I
So
just feel like that's a
I can do
place
that.
where, unless it's like the winter, when it's not so unbearable,
Yeah, but it's
you're
fucking
probably there
freezing there
out at
though.
night.
It's
I
so
love
cold at
that.
night in
Hot days,
Arizona, bro.
cold nights,
I
run it
hate that shit.
all day.
I like South
Sunshine
Florida
and
where
cold
it's
nights.
steady. South Texas, I lived in for a while too. Cold as fuck at night. Anyway, another episode. So this is our Florida person of the week or last week. Driver found with 23 pounds of marijuana on I-75. This is out of WCJB in Gainesville. Authorities caught a man with more than 23 pounds of marijuana speeding down Interstate 75 in Gainesville. Gainesville police officers working on the 8th Judicial Circuit Crime Task Force said they pulled over. We're going to redact his name just because I'm not a dick, for speeding on I-75 at mile marker 378 in Gainesville. While performing the stop, they could smell burnt cannabis, which may not be a reason to search. We'll talk about that later. It doesn't matter because listen to what this dumbass does. When they search the vehicle, which may be an illegal search, we'll see, they found 2 trash bags filled with marijuana in the truck, a backpack with a pound of weed, and joints in the center console. He also told officers that he was taking the drugs from South Florida to California. So he was saying he was driving this weed to California. So was that just his weed to make it to California? I don't know. But this is our Florida
Uh,
person of the week because guys, weed is still illegal in Florida, especially North Florida. Do not fuck, especially if you're, working or whatever.
yo,
This
you
guy
got to
was,
hit him with that. He deserves that. Hit him with the.
oh my, this one.
You
Yeah.
smoke poop. You
That
smoke poop.
Oh my god. You
I
think he
don't
was
know why
smoking
that
poop
one
when he
makes me
got pulled
laugh
over?
so much, but it does. And he
But
probably
dude, come
was. It
on,
was probably
guys.
terrible. It was probably
Yeah,
Charlie Brown.
when you're working, don't smoke, don't talk to the cops. Like, don't fucking tell them you're trafficking cannabis across state lines. This is just ignorant as fuck. This
Did he
comes
just
from
think
that,
that
I
maybe
think.
if he's super honest, they'll be like, you know what, man? Just go.
God,
Just
can
go.
you can you imagine being honest with the Gainesville police? Like, oh, that's like some
And
medical marijuana patients. They'll get pulled over and like think they're cool and like show their card and tell their fucking cop they smoke and they get a DUI and want to cry about it. Like, dude, the fucking police are not your friends. They don't like weed. Do I know cops that smoke weed? Of course. In South
yes.
Florida, I know cops that do worse. They still don't give a fuck. So like,
Yeah.
if
Another
you're a Florida
episode.
patient, another episode, guys, don't fucking talk to the police. If you get pulled over, don't give them your fucking medical marijuana card. If they say they smell weed, who the fuck cares, dude?
Hot
That's not
Brothers
you.
at
You didn't
Law.
smoke today.
Don't say shit.
Yeah,
Or,
just
or
don't
something
shut the
like
fuck
that.
up. Yeah, Pop Brothers will all shut the fuck up when you
Oh,
get
that one.
pulled
Thank you.
over.
Yeah.
And don't fucking traffic weed in North Florida and speed while you're smoking weed. Like, this guy would have got pulled over anyway for speeding. I don't know. That's kind of weird how it's local Gainesville police and they were on I-75. There could be more to this, but anyway, that's our fucking Florida person of the week or two last week. Just like
Well,
29 years old. Like, is he going to be in a lot of trouble? I don't fucking know. It's Florida. He should be able to pay his way out of trouble. But what if he doesn't have the money? So poor
it's
guy.
not Miami,
That's for him.
but
It's
yes.
not Miami. I'll pray for this guy. I hope he gets out of trouble. But
Nah, he needs a lesson.
Well, what I'm doing, officer, I'm driving this weed from South Florida to California, which is like super weird anyway. But yeah, I figured I'd roll up enough joints to make it to California. I don't know what this kid told the cops. I'd like to see the dash cam. I mean, the badge cam. Maybe I can find it, but
I don't know. Like, I have a deviated septum. I do not know what you're talking about. Also, I refuse to say anything else. Just
guys, if you get pulled over, just fucking ask them. Go to Pop Brothers a lot. I don't want to talk about getting pulled over. It's not a fun thing to talk about.
But it happens. So
it happens,
don't let it happen. Pick one law to break, right? If essentially,
exactly, and don't break the law while you're breaking the law.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
Don't break the law while you're breaking the law.
Yeah, so
So I don't know, but
keep it on the track.
we were talking today. We've talked a lot about. A big company today and the way they've changed the market here for the better and worse, for better or worse. Sorry, I don't think they changed it for the better at all. But, a lot of people, I go back and forth with a lot of people. They're like, what is corporate cannabis? Every dispensary is this or that. Well, not every fucking dispensary has an HR department, a legal department, fuck it. It's just, I'm not hating on you guys for working there. I'm not hating on you if that's your industry. But for those of you that are on that side that don't think it's as polarized as I think it is, well, guys, this is a perfect story. This gentleman was speeding down I-75. Well, right now there's fucking distro workers for every company speeding all around the state with way more than 23 pounds of cannabis in the truck.
But they can get away with it, and it's fucking awesome.
Polarizing. Exactly. It's extremely polarizing, guys. How that right there is.
But you shouldn't do that.
Not polarizing. You know what I mean, guys? So it's like, if you're rich enough and if you have the state's permission, you can run around with a plant with no issues. But if you don't, you're getting locked in a cage. It's polarizing. It's fucked up. So
it is. It is. Like we had mentioned on that last episode when I was doing for 420, on a street, sitting there, smoking, essentially in a state where you can't even technically have combustion. It's like vaporization only, right? But up the street, there's a jail full of people that got caught with weed in their shit, or whatever the case is. To have extremely polarizing cases like that all over the country, let alone back home, in the state of Florida is.
Yeah, like where you are right now. I mean, here and there's fucking tons of people in prison.
It's sad. It's really sad, man.
And like, this is like the perfect explanation of it. Like Stephanie Landa at Freedom Grow, I asked her probably a few years ago now. I said, "Do you have a list of people locked up for cannabis?" And she kind of like laughed at me. She's like, "There's no list. There's no list. They're everywhere." Like,
yeah,
there's no list. So there's people everywhere in almost every state. It's crazy. It's a plant. I mean, whatever.
It is a plant.
Another episode. But.
Yeah.
But working for these places, I feel like so many of you... The
grass is greener on the other side, my friend.
Dude, so many of you...
or wherever you water it.
And for those people that like reached out and like, that quit places and tell me their life's got a lot better and I've helped them quit or gave them, that's awesome. Like that shit really makes me want to cry. And that could be at any dead end job, guys. So yeah, but a lot of you work there and like suffer and like that's like a fucking corporate job. Like,
yeah,
it's not fun.
It
so
really
what about
isn't.
you? You've been working legal jobs all over. You left Florida years ago to be legal. So how the fuck is that going?
To say that. Okay. So I will just say this in generalities as my time as a consultant, because that's when I really saw the most as I bounced around. Usually what I see with corporate cannabis and like, so what you just mentioned too, I forget that a lot of our early conversations were, people, that were so unhappy with their job. They're at the point where they felt unsafe or they were being asked to do compromisable things or, they were, in a lot of different ways, and that's very saddening when you're talking about producing medicine for a patient in any state when they can't do it themselves, right? So on the upside of, or not, I don't want to say upside, there's no upside. to what I'm saying. Not to say there's not an upside, but as the
You did put a
scale,
lot of hash in that blunt, didn't you? Goddamn.
I did put a lot of hash in that blunt. Yeah. So as the scale goes up and you go from, positions where you're transporting, packaging, dispensing, front of house essentially, to the back where you're either in cultivation, doing, small things like, preparing soil, media, preparing nutrient tanks, whatever, defoliating, deleafing, any of the small things before you get into the big picture things of it. Same on the processing side. But more often than not, unless you know your worth and you are able to distinguish yourself amongst a sea of people that are willing to do the same fucking thing that you do, you provide value, or the products that you directly make, whether you are the lead cultivator, whether you are the lead in any lab, whether it's just a lab director that oversees all departments, or whether you're actually the lead chemist or formulary in any one of those labs, you're making these companies millions and millions of dollars, depending on the scale that you're at. This is different when it comes to startups and things like that. We're not going to get into that. Startups are extremely hard, I can tell you. With Foxtrax, that's a whole nother story. But when you're working for dudes on the mega side, and you're talking like 200 plus million in the picture, things get weirdly weird. More often than not, it reminds you less like cannabis and more like what corporate America does. Essentially what a lot of things that happen in different firms, in different trades, and the tactics that are used are very, tactful, and usually not to your benefit, unless you...
They're not, because I know management that reads like fucked up books about being a manager and like the type of people to hire and like how to control. Like that's real shit, guys. Like those are people coming from other industries. Like anyway, my bad. Sorry.
Predatory is the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
so I
predatory.
Apologize, dude. I put a lot of hash in that blunt. So
splitting up your work week, making you do stupid shit. Like they want to keep you dragged out. No, but anyway, my bad. I'm gonna go on a rant. But anyway,
no. Yeah, it's okay. It happens. It happens. But I just think that people need to understand. They have this weird idea that like, and it's weird whether you're okay. So there's two kinds of people. You want to be in the industry because of the money, and then I would like to say, go and make sure you don't have a concussion. I don't know.
If you want to come into this industry for money as someone that knows nothing, then go fucking trade school instead, bro. That'll be a better start for
on the big scale of it. Exactly. On the big scale of it, companies like billionaires are getting into this to make millions, not millionaires. It's a weird concept, and sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but at the same time, I just don't. I don't want to say it's all bad, because you learn a lot of things, you meet a lot of great people, but it's just more often than not, unless you stand out from the crowd or you have a foot in the door, or it's just really weird how it works. More often than not, I've just seen people not keep up with their word, or more importantly than that, if they do, they don't listen or hear their operators or their their employees or whatever they want to call them.
Or they sell a dream and ignore the complaints about it when the dream doesn't come true.
Yeah, it's really weird. And honestly, like before I started this episode with you, I was super upset thinking about it as we spoke to each other prior to starting the episode. But I don't know. I also think about the people that like, I don't know, man. It's weird. I am super blessed to be able to do this on either side, and I'm grateful. Uh, Thinking about the people in prison always like humbles me in a sense. Like it humbles me more when I'm at work than when I consume things as a patient or whatever. But it's the truth of it. It's something that I don't take lightly. And if someone's in the industry, they had to go through a lot of bullshit, a lot of like, that's another episode, but it's insane, especially for Florida. And I understand people wanting to make a difference. I know that's why people that are in it and that are succeeding, not just burying people with a mass amount of mass produced, anything. Those are the people that stand out in Florida. The thing that I've noticed about people, as a lot of my friends are patients, they post their meds, good or bad. Good or bad, but they really pay attention to when it's bad. And the thing that I've noticed across the board, not diving into any particular brand or calling anybody out, because that would be episodes, and I just don't feel like putting that energy into it. Consistency is really hard to keep up, where you have people that have been doing this since the inception of the program, but they're still having problems with, bud rot, mold, botrytis.
Like the people that don't care, fuck them. And the dispensaries that do, people will jump on a place for like one bad thing. I mean, they still deserve it in my opinion, but I see what you're saying. Like you don't, and like I've heard that from other homies in Michigan. Like if you're in the corporate side, like you're never going to get praise for your fucking consistency. But if you fuck up, you could lose your job. You're going to get one smack on the back for a good harvest or a good product. But you fuck up one time, like heads can roll. It's not only in Florida, but I understand what you're saying. Like, yeah, like when it's bad, you hear about it. Like it's just like Google reviews, right? Like people don't always jump on there and say they had a wonderful time, but they'll definitely jump on there, leave a 1-star. So, and I'm like the fucking 1-star, curator for Florida. So, but most of the places I go after, like you said, since inception, have had issues.
Yeah.
Super poopy. We can go ahead and do it one more time.
You smoke poop.
Dude, I put way too much hash in this plant. I'm so glad we're not doing video right now. Holy shit.
That's why, like, I'm going to be real. Like, a lot of you want video. Like,
ripped.
I don't give a fuck if you want video. Fox might provide some. I'm not going on fucking camera. Ooh. I'm not going on video.
Tell him, Dave.
And like for those of you that like, I'm gonna expose you and shit, like expose me for being what, a normal fucking guy. You guys act like I'm fucking Ron DeSantis' son or something. Like, go ahead and expose me. But the reason I'm saying that is I don't want to be on camera because of what he's saying. Like, if I had to be on camera for 40 minutes, just normally, like, I'm a weird motherfucker, dude. Like, I'm not gonna be on camera. Like, last time we recorded, I was like nodding out off fucking bad food and too much weed.
That shit was actually really funny after the fact. But I was like, yo, you were a little bit off. Are you okay? Yeah, man.
I was fucked up. I feel like 100 times better. Like it was really hard. But yeah, and like I'm a big fan of old radio shows like Coast to Coast, conspiracy radio shows, paranormal, and I love radio, which is kind of like gone away, so it's kind of switched to podcasts. People have got accustomed to video. I like audio. I have a lot of people that want to be interviewed that don't want to be on camera, and when they say that, I'm like, fucking perfect, and we do have interviews ready, guys. We're going to try to roll them out. We have to schedule with people, convince people to come on, especially some older people that have been around that don't,
unless like we've already talked, then please holler at us.
Yeah, like, we'll figure out who we're going to have on here, guys. We want to lay down some foundations of history and things like that. Of course, we want to address the IG community and people in it. I can't wait to hear from some of you. But then again, like there's gonna some of you that are listening this, like there's gonna be people on here you don't like, and like I don't give a fuck because I don't like some of them either. There may be people on here that, as Florida Trees News, I do not fucking like, and that's for a lot of you that have followed the podcast page. Like you probably can't click on my name because I've blocked you, and I've done that for my mental health. Like sometimes the shit is so comical and so weird that it's just easier for me to ignore it. You know what I mean? So. I'm going to try to leave out some personal biases. I'm definitely going to air shit out here. Fox will kind of balance me out, but there's going to be some fucking normal people on here that some of you don't like. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Listen to what they have to say. Like, sit here and listen to your competition, your enemy, whatever the fuck it is, someone you hate, probably for no reason. Especially the smaller community in Florida. We hate on each other a lot. We should not, because it should be all of us against the corporate program here. But it's Florida, man. It's a fast-paced environment. It's very expensive in South Florida, probably Northern Florida now. Like, it's that kind of vibe, you know what I mean? So, hopefully, we can change that. We can get some people on here. I mean, fuck, man, we might even have people on here that Fox doesn't like or I don't like. We'll see what happens. I don't want to do
Those are going to be the fun ones. No, so here's the thing. I welcome that in any way, as long as it's not turning into a yelling fest, which, we will, even then, let's roll with it. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm cool with talking to anyone at this point. You do this long enough where what's seriously serious is one thing and people having an argument or discussion is a complete different one. But
now, if you're a piece of shit and like you fuck the community up, or how I feel about you, like absolutely don't ask to come on here. We're not going to approach you. I want nothing to do with you. But like, will I fucking in the book of cannabis history write down the bad people, the fucking protagonists? Of course. Why would I not?
Fair. Someone's got to keep track, I guess.
Someone's got to keep track. You're still part of cannabis history. You're just the fucking villain. So some people like that, though. I mean,
some people get off on that, and that's
some
cool.
People like being the villain. They have. I grew up loving Disney villains, bros.
Everyone's a villain, and
for both of us. Like people see us in both lights. So I appreciate all of you that may not like one of us or both of us and still listen. And,
There's unless you did me wrong, then fuck y'all.
There's a lot of people that cussed out and said mean shit too, and you guys like still fuck with me, and like I fuck with you, because like I'm human. I'll have a bad day, and we're cool. So guys, we'll wrap it up here. I had some serious fucking rain earlier. I hope it does not get recorded. Yeah, super weird, but.
I don't want to say that. That sounds terrible. But it was. I was like, it was wet rain. I was like, no shit, Fox. Jesus.
Oh my god, the rain was wet today, guys. It wasn't. Well, where you are, I'm happy that the rain was wet and not acid. I'm happy it wasn't acid rain.
Oh man,
it was just wet today. But
could have been ducks and fucks for all I care. Jeez.
We're going to try to aim 30 to 45 minutes. We're coming on 45 minutes right now. So thank you guys.
And no more hash blunts for me.
Yeah, we're trying to find a balance, not be too fucked up, not be too sober. I think I'm pretty good right here. So
I overdid it.
We'll talk to you guys on Instagram. If you found this on Spotify or Apple or YouTube and you want to reach out, I'm Florida Trees News on Instagram or Square Grouper Podcast to kind of reach both of us. And then Fox, what social do you want to give out?
You guys need to go and follow Square Grouper Podcast. And then if you were bored...
I don't know if you guys, like, some of you might know who A-Hole Sniffs Glue is, like a graffiti artist in Miami. And I love
Shout out
to
an interview.
They're like, what does your name mean? And he pretty much says, like, I wouldn't have picked this name if I knew if this was gonna happen. And, like, I feel that way a lot. So, will I have my own spinoff brand eventually? I don't know. Probably not. But.
Who knows?
Anyway, follow us on Instagram. Hopefully we'll have enough shows up to where you can rate us on Spotify. We're definitely going to try to get this on YouTube and Apple this time. Thank you if you downloaded Spotify and registered to listen to our pilot episode. That's awesome. But yeah, that's about it. We'll see what we got next week as far as news.
Did we have any good news?
I mean... It's been a fucking rough week in Florida, bro, between the immigration law and like everything.
Oh, okay.
I don't have enough good news this week, bro.
Okay, yeah.
I don't have any good news this week.
Honestly, that's very upsetting.
Yeah, it's a whole nother, Me and Fox have like some very like, our political views are like definitely, both sided. And like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. So it'll be nice, but we won't talk about the immigration law right now. But no good news. Florida's having a rough week. But besides that, guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully we'll have good news for you next time.
I just leave you with this, my little traps and knots. No. Traps? No. Trap astronauts? Yeah.
Trap astronauts.
No more hash bones for me, first of all. Not while I'm recording. Jeez. Man, but mostly it has been a rough week. No, seriously.
The good news, it's May and most of the Canadians and snowbirds have left my local beach. That's the good news. We'll leave you with that.
Oh.
Until next time.
All right.